Hey, what's up, DevNations? Today, we're going to be taking a look at how to prepare and ace your job interview. We're going to be taking a look at 10 different pieces of advice you can go ahead and use to level up your interviewing skills and take it to the next level. So let's get into it. First tip, be engaging. Remember, the interview starts when you walk into the building. You don't want to walk into the building with your headphones in, eyes looking down, not interacting with anyone. Walk in, standing up tall, be confident. Don't be arrogant, but be confident in yourself, in your skills, and your abilities. Meet with the receptionist. Hey, how's your day going? So great to meet you. Oh, great to meet you, Pam. Take care. Make sure to repeat their name back to them. This allows you to have a deeper connection with them and helps you recall their name later on. Then if you got to sit down, that's fine. But make sure you're engaging with the people around you before and after the interview as well. If you get a little nervous while talking to other people as well, make sure to just take a deep breath in, count to 3 seconds and exhale. This will help you, allow you to go ahead and take control over your heart rate and calm down. Secondly, bring a notebook and pen. When you bring a notebook and pen to the interview, this will show the interviewer that you are actually prepared for the interview. This will allow you to have any questions you might want to ask later at the end of the interview written down. So you're not worried about if you might forget the actual questions you wanted to ask. Plus, you're able to go ahead and carry extra copies of your resume for anybody else who might be joining your interview, as well as copies of other projects you may have worked on as well that you can go ahead and hand out during the interview. Tip number 3, be prepared for behavioral and interview questions. Now, these are going to be those types of questions and not really specific to your skills, but more how you react to things. So this is tell a story about a previous situation that you were in or how you handled the situation. So these are going to be examples such as, tell me about a time you failed. How did you deal with the situation? Give me an example of a time when you had to explain something fairly complex to a frustrated client. How did you end up handling this delicate situation? Those are just a few examples. But whenever you get these types of questions or any questions that you feel are a bit complex or maybe out of your reach, just take a minute to pause. Pause for 1-2 seconds. It's okay. This allows you to be able to refine and articulate how you want to communicate and convey your message to the other person. When you go ahead and respond to the question right away and without even thinking, now you're committing to answering that question with the first thought that pops in your mind. Whereas if you pause, take a second or two to go ahead and refine how it is you want to say whatever it is you want to say, then it gives you that time to really just refine it. And when you go ahead and respond, make sure you respond in a more short and concise manner, about 2 to 3 sentences. You don't want to be like Post Malone running in circles. We're not here to do circles. We're here to simply convey the values that we have to the other person. Tip number 4, ask a question. At the end of your interview, the hiring manager is going to go ahead and ask you, do you have any questions for us? This is your time to go ahead and ask a question where you can go ahead and raise your skills just a little bit more, show you're interested to the other party as well. You can ask questions such as, what do you like best about working here? What are the most important qualities you're looking for in candidates in this position? You can also ask, what does it take to be a successful team member here, as well as what opportunities for advancement or additional duties would I have here? These are just some questions to really allow further engagement with you and the other party. Tip number 5, make sure to follow up. After the interview, always make sure to follow up with the people that interviewed you, as well as anyone else you may have engaged with before and after the interview within 24 hours. This is usually preferred time. 24 hours is the best time, maybe even 48 hours, usually 24 hours though. Follow up with anyone, just thanking them for the time, for the experience, and for being there. Tip number 6, make sure you do some research before you go into the interview. You really want to go ahead and figure out the company's core values, the company's the culture of the company. You want to use sources such as Glassdoor and Vault to figure out the company culture, see what it's like. This will allow you to double down on any values you might already have with the company or work on some other core values that you might fall weak in that you could go ahead and polish up. Tip number 7, dress for the part. This, I think, goes along better with tip number 6 on doing your research, because you can go ahead and figure out the company culture, see if it's more normal for them to wear just a polo and jeans, or if you're expected to wear a suit. This way you can show that you really belong with that company's culture and you really fit in well. Tip number 8, remember what an interview is. I know when you go in for an interview, it can sort of feel like your fate is in this one person's hands, and if this king says off with the head, it's off with the head. No. All an interview is you communicating your value to another person. Remember, the hiring manager has put in the time and resources, money to go and say, the company is short on these specific skills. We need someone out there in the world to go ahead and fill this void, this gap of skills that we require. And there's over 100 other people who have applied for this position, but you want to go ahead and convey the values that you can bring and why you stand out as a candidate. And a resume is a sales document. It's simply a piece of paper that lists all your skills and how you can be of value to the other person, to this company. The actual interview is how you're communicating your values and skills to the other person and to this company. So just keep that in mind. If you're ever getting nervous or feel a little overwhelmed, your fate is not entirely in this person's hands. It's all about these other skills that you're able to convey and communicate and showcase those skills. Tip number 9, make sure you show up on time. If you show up on time, if your meetings or interviews at 10, you don't want to show up at 10. You actually want to show up 15 minutes before. So be early. That is what's considered on time. This will showcase to other people that you are on point, and you'll be on point with other things as well. Again, all about that first impression. Tip number 10, practice your interviews. If you're going to university, they'll usually hold career fairs where you can go ahead and practice your actual interview skills and showcase your resume, refine your resume, refine how you communicate. But also, if you're not going to university, that's totally fine. Something I did as well was go ahead and record yourself. Figure out a couple questions that you think are common to be asked during an interview, right? Some common, frequently asked questions for an interview. Go ahead and list them out and have a piece of paper there and ask yourself those questions and record how you respond to those questions. That way you can figure out those little quirks that you might have when you start to get nervous. You might start picking at your fingers, or you might start to go ahead and scratch your neck, or whatever it might be. You can figure out what are those little tendencies that you have and go ahead and, just course correct them just a little bit. And you'll also be able to hear yourself communicate and get immediate feedback on how you communicate and present yourself to other people. Whatever your camera records is pretty much how other people see you. So you want to really get that immediate feedback, studying how you go ahead and use your body gesture, how you communicate with your hands. I'm notorious for doing that. What the words you tend to repeat on an ongoing basis, little things like that. So be aware for those. I think it's another great way to get immediate feedback if you don't have someone else around you to practice those actual questions. I really hope you guys enjoyed these 10 crucial pieces of advice for your next job interview, and I'm wishing you all the best in your job interview. Let me know how it goes down below. Would love to hear feedback from you guys, and if there's anything you feel like I missed, please let me know down below. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.